the tantric path of awakening. Seeing your life, all the events of your life, as the great initiation. My friends, this is a perspective on the spiritual journey that I've come to, over the years now. And I find to be most true to the core. Most true to the core of me and the core of our times. Okay? Here's the thing. I'm going to try to make this video brief. We live in an age where there is no more gurus. It's going to be you're probably not going to find a master or a teacher, that you really resonate with. There's no great classical schools of initiation, right? And if we're on this spiritual journey, we're waking up and maybe we're taking dogma from the East, being misled by all this scattered information. And what I'm realizing is that in the modern day, the spiritual impulse of evolution is individuation. Individuation meaning that you are carving your own unique path up the mountain, whatever your mountain may be. You are carving and cutting your own path. And to do that, my friends, is to see life as if your soul is initiating you by itself. There's no great schools of initiation, but your soul has this intrinsic quality in the modern day where it will call in events, circumstances, good and bad, highs and lows, pain and loss, things that are going to guide you deeper into initiation. So life is the guide. We're going to get deeper into this idea. The other idea is Tantra. Okay. Tantra to me is about true presence. The practice of true presence, especially in the extremes of life, right? In the highs and the lows, in the pain and in the loss. Whatever it may be, it's true presence. Alan Watts once said something like, Tantra is the full engagement with the extremes of life. Whether that's sexual energy, whether that's pain, whatever it is. And this is really when things get intense, when you're in the boiling pot, that's where initiation happens in a massive way. Okay, we don't have rites of passage anymore, especially for men. But these old rites of passage would have been like sun dancing, getting hooks through your pectoral muscles and hanging from a tree for 3 days. Getting bitten by fire ants until literally you're almost dying. Drinking poison until you're on the brink of death. Fasting in a cave. Some crazy shit like this. These rites of passage. And that was only the beginning, of the mystery initiations that even took you into greater depths of developing willpower, courage, subtle capacities per se. And we don't have those in the modern day. But life is literally giving you those circumstances all the time. All the time. But here's the thing, is on this spiritual path right now, all this fragmented information, this dogma from the East, whatever it is, it's either leading us to be a renunciate and, sever parts of our true nature, or to be an indulgent, right? Both of those are easy. It's easy to renounce everything, to renounce your shadow, to renounce, the economy, to renounce business, to renounce, sexuality. And it's also easy to indulge in sex, and indulge in money, and indulge in all the pleasures of this world. The hard way is the middle way. The hard way is to go through life and do your duty, not to renounce anything, and not to indulge in anything, but fully engage with life, right? And through that full engagement, with an open heart and a mind that's perceiving a greater picture, we're not so stuck in the small, oh, my partner's leaving me, or, oh, I don't know what the future's gonna hold, but we're looking at the bigger picture, thank you for the suffering. Thank you for these highs and lows. Thank you for this roller coaster I ride. Let it be rocky, because I know the great souls walk the rockiest roads. It's like seeing your life as the story, the saga of a master, right? And that master isn't going through a classical initiation system. That master is seeing his life as his initiation. and life will ever guide you to what you need if you engage with that relationship in mind, right? There's a couple aspects of this that I want to hit on. The tantric path of awakening is through the inferno of your instincts, of your passions. Carl Jung once said, the man who has never passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them, right? This idea of individuation is about actually enabling the instincts within you, the drives within you, and learning to organize them, learning to organize yourself into a harmonious totality. Instead of telling parts of yourself, that's bad, like, you know, I can't be like this, you know, you become this rigid form. That's only a fracture of your true self. And individuation is about fully engaging and learning to rein in and tame your instincts. And this idea is really important, my friends. Go watch my video on shadow work, reality files, and I'll go deeper into this idea. But essentially, like, for instance, you know, maybe a lesser developed person, right? They're going to be told drugs are bad, and maybe they're interested at a party, people are doing drugs, maybe they try it once or whatnot, and then they get pissed at themselves and they're like, no, that's bad, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. When like the more like courageous souls are probably going to be like some kind of crazy addict for a while, you know, because they have the courage to go explore life and they don't care what someone else told them, you know. They let their instincts actually play out. It takes more courage, you know. And in doing that, they actually learn to tame that. Like, the tantric path of awakening is engaging with extremes. Extremes of life include addictions. You know, whether that's to video games, whether that's to porn, whether that's to social media, whether that's to heroin, whether that's to meth, whatever. You know, the extremes. And like, I went through a crazy path of awakening through such extremes in my life, through such rejection and humiliation, through addiction, through just crazy shit that happened over and over and over. And I had to learn how to show up with presence through all of that. And it cultivates character. It cultivates a connection to the true self, that unconquerable spirit per se. So the tantric path of awakening is through your own bullshit, right? Not avoiding your own bullshit, not renouncing your bullshit, but going through it. Check out my video on shadow work. The other aspect of this is letting life happen. Having the courage to accept what is, to accept all that comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, and to see it as your path. Here's the thing, my friends. Fear is an illusion that lives in the mind, especially fear of the future. It's a reality that is not present and may not ever exist. But that shit plagues us so hard. And because of this, we clutch for control, right? We don't mesh and flow with life. We don't let life happen. We don't fully engage with the lows. Therefore, we don't fully engage with the highs. We don't actually let the pendulum swing. We're resisting the lows. We're holding on to the highs, right? But here's the thing, my friends, is we gotta let the tears flow fully in order to fully laugh, right? We have to go through loss in order to create the space for something great to enter. The tantric path of awakening is learning to love the lows just as much as the highs. It's learning to love the loss just as much as the gain, and not being caught in the duality, but seeing the beauty in both of them and learning to engage with them. This is way harder said. I mean, way harder done than said, my friends, because holy shit, this life is a roller coaster if your experience is anything like mine, you know? For instance, I think I'm making this video because my partner and I decided to open our relationship. And that has thrown me through weeks of deep inner turmoil. Really hard shit to go through. But just seeing it as the obstacle for growth for myself. And also knowing that this is part of the plan for me. Like, I need to do this. We need to do this, you know. And just like the turmoil, the fear, all this shit that's coming up, seeing that as all intense energy, intense fire burning in you, right? And your capacity to work with that fire and transmute that fire into more noble states is Tantra, right? This is the alchemical process. This is initiation. Initiation is lighting great fires inside of you and learning how to tame the dragon, my friends. Learning how to tame the dragons. Tantra, in the classical sense, is stealing fire from heaven, right? Especially when it comes to sexual energy, right? Like in sexual union or sexual yoga, this is one of the most great extremes you could go into, is the sexual, intercourse, right? Going into that extreme and taming the fire and bringing it up through divine love, transmuting lust into love, transmuting fear, the fire of fear, into the fire of courage, right? Like, that's what it is, my friends. It's raising that divine fire inside of you and transmuting it into more noble states, right? And the more fire that is upon you in your life, the greater your capacity for initiation into the mysteries and into greater levels of character, manhood, womanhood, kingship, queenship, whatever it is for you, my friends. Sex is an allegory for it all, like you gotta let the symphony play. You gotta fully engage with it and learn to tame that part of you that wants to indulge, and learn to tame that part of you that wants to renounce, and fully engage with life and practice presence, tame that fire and use the fire of life, right? And by doing this, my friends, life opens up. You feel more alive because you're actually flowing, you're actually dancing with the rhythms of life. My friends, your true nature, your immortal nature is fearless. Fearless. Fear only comes, it's the bondage of night. It comes when we come into this body and come into this ego and mortal life. But your true nature is fucking fearless, right? And furthermore, it's the seer. It's the spirit dancing behind it all. Dancing through the highs and the lows, the gain and the loss, right? Seeing the saga, the greater saga, not only of this lifetime, but of the many lifetimes you lived, and the saga of a master coming into his true original blueprint, actualizing his potential on his path of individuation in this lifetime, my friends. The tantric path is the path of awakening. It's the path of individuation for the modern day. And I see this kind of idea as perhaps the most ideal spiritual approach we can take today, without all these, classical schools and, gurus and traditions. Like, what's the religion of the West? Really think about this. In the past, couple hundred years, where was the Messiah in the great religion that was born then? There hasn't been, my friends. There's not a story, there's not a teaching, there's not a spiritual tradition for our time. It's up to us to create that. It's up to us to write original holy books on our lives. It's up to us to carve our own path up the mountain. And to do that, we have to trust in life and trust in our soul to provide us the experiences of initiation, and how we show up to those experiences, right? How we relate to the initiatory process determines where we end up, my friends. How we grow, how we unfold as we strive towards the spiritual heights. Thanks for being here. This is Reality Files. I'm Kristian. This is my raw thoughts on the spiritual path in the modern day. Hit that like button, share this video with someone you think it will impact. And if you want to talk to me one-on-one, there's a link in the description where you can apply for a free session with me. Furthermore, follow me or hit me up on Instagram at Reality Files. Thanks for being here, my friends. Drop your comments below. I love the comments, the likes. All of it helps this get seen. I enjoy reading your thoughts. Peace.